Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Future Proof, the podcast where we decode how founders, leaders, and execs are working smarter by using systems, automation, and AI. If you're looking to future-proof your business, you're in the right place. And before we dive in, what we do, if you're a founder, leader, C-suite exec, and you're feeling the pressure to figure out where to implement AI, we developed leading micro solutions for AI, right? And like last week alone, one of our solutions saved someone over 20 hours alone a week just for their SDR team. So if you want to see where AI can plug in, save your team a bunch of hours or increase your lead flow, we do free, no pitch, 30-minute collabs. The links are in the show notes. But let's jump to today's episode. And my guest today is Tony Walker from Wacom Corporation, but he's really going to talk about his really cool ERP system called MUVOR. Tony, welcome. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yeah, excited. So let's jump in. The first thing we always do is talk about your background leading up to.
Yeah, so I got in blockchain back in 2013, like everyone else with Bitcoin. Saw a lot of potential there. Started hearing about all the gains that everyone was making from it, and just from my little bit of time in the market, I saw the potential and I bought some. Ended up getting out in 2015, 2016 at around $2,000. And then I just now got back in recently. I've been out ever since, really. Haven't really held it for much longer than that amount of time. It's been pretty volatile, but it got me into blockchain technology. And then with ETH coming out and everything, I kind of was, just like, maybe I'll give it a go. Things started working out really well. I kept going, and it turned out to be a really good platform and backbone for platforms.
Awesome. And so tell everybody in the audience about MUVOR, and I get why you created it, but who you created it for, who the best user base are, and then some of the aspects of what you can do with it.
Yeah, MUVOR's a blockchain ERP system. It is kind of like a CRM on steroids. It has your basic customer relationship management. It also has a point of sale system, document management, warehouse management, barcoding, product lifecycle, all the bells and whistles that you're kind of looking for to collaborate, create a business, start a business, run a business. All built on a blockchain, so it also has built-in reward system. When you collaborate, they're rewarding using what we call a variable memory registry, or VMR, which will allow you to have dormant rewards. So like if you go into a coffee shop with friends and you guys all get coffee, you guys can earn some dormant rewards from that, or can contribute to the dormant rewarding system. This is great because when you start collaborating on a larger scale, not only will you get the dormant rewards, but you'll also have some AI aspects to it, just as the blockchain is built. We've seen that with these single sources of truth, when you add all of your various data to it, it allows you to produce outputs if you apply some sort of AI algorithm, transformer, minimax game, etc. on top of it. Produces really nice outputs for whatever field you're looking for.
Really cool. So for everybody that's, because there's going to be tons of entrepreneurs, that see the podcast as well, but for the people that are running a business or they're using different ERPs, talk to us about the difference in a blockchain ERP system like yours, right, versus a traditional Salesforce, HubSpot, right? Because I think it was the first question that popped in my head, right? Because I don't know that difference. So I'm guessing a lot of our viewers, the same thing.
Yeah, the main difference is that in blockchain, it allows for collaboration, also rewarding. When you use normal Web 2 technologies, you don't have the connections that the blockchain has. So each node on the blockchain serves as its own single source of truth. In conventional systems, Web 2 systems, you don't have that. Well, you have a single source of truth. It's more of a record single source of truth rather than
static record, right?
Yeah, rather than like an immutable backbone. So that's the main difference, being that on the blockchain, if you add networking to the blockchain, and you can actually just talk directly, or cross talk to anyone you want. Oh, there might be some latency that's correctable, but on Web 2, if you want to a network goes together, you're going to require a lot more code and a lot more resources in order to connect those single sources of truth across the database. You need something like WebSockets or some sort of event listener or et cetera in order to have that take place.
Well, that's inherently built in with blockchain.
Exactly. Because everything's on chain, everything is stored the same way, and it allows it to talk to each other relatively easily.
So how does that affect internal, right? Company internal resources versus customers interacting with this?
Yeah. So internally, it allows for a lot of ease of movement. It really eases the friction along collaboration, teamwork, and like value internally versus Salesforce, where you would have you have to have your HR on one side of Salesforce, you have your sales on another side of Salesforce, and like C-level execs would be on a whole other side of Salesforce. Here, everyone's really it's a similar setup, but everyone is on the same single source of truth. So in the Salesforce side, if you have an HR, that's its own single source of truth. Sales is its own single source of truth. C-level, and none of them can really crosstalk, and that's kind of what they added Slack on for in the upper levels. Here, they're all just on the same single source of truth, all on the same block, or two blocks if there's a large team size with a lot of transactions, etc. Then, that's very very easy for them to crosstalk. As something like a blockchain farm would do, or like a crypto farm. They all share the reason why they are mining so fast is because they're all sharing the same memory. They're all networked together. It's the same principles. Now, is HR and C levels and employees? Well, yes, they are going to all earn these same dormant rewards, but they don't necessarily have to. In some cases, you might use that for your like an equity side or an equity play as far as company goes, because you're just, and all that power goes directly to your employees. There's some like Salesforce where you don't really have that opportunity and everything just kind of goes out the window. You have to apply direct revenue, sales, and work to the work itself. So with Mover, you're really putting the money to work versus conventional system.
Interesting. Talk to me about some of your ideal users that are using the platform today and like who you're targeting. Because I'm guessing, in crypto world, certainly entrepreneurs, does it run the gamut? Is it local businesses all the way and SMBs all the way up through mid-market? Just kind of give us some examples of your user base.
Yeah, so we target all entrepreneurs alike, large and small, even solopreneurs running a really small operation like a hot dog stand. That's really our target audience. Right now, we're seeing a lot of movement with individuals just looking to get into crypto, kind of looking to understand crypto. 'Cause I know with my various channels, I kind of try to lay it out pretty in simple terms so that anyone can understand, anyone can join on, and provides access to really anyone who's looking to get into the asset class.
One of the things you mentioned in the beginning that it has warehouse management, it has distribution tracking. Like to me, I would think e-com stores and stuff would also be, high on this.
Yeah. So a lot of our customer demographic is actually mid to large size customers and like warehouse management. What we've seen is that there aren't a lot of really good warehouse management softwares. So what we did was kind of use that as a starting place. And then we've used that to really grow and scale from there. But it's really a lot of just simple lists and updates and things like that personally on the code side.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally get that. I totally get that. And you said you also have, you're into the crypto world. So do you have a lot of crypto traders and guys in crypto using the platform?
Yeah, we have about 5,000 wallets right now. Market cap's right around $7.5 million. That's really where a lot of our bread and butter is on the crypto side of things, getting people signed up. We have a lottery game that people like playing, where it's just like a pool, and then whoever wins the lottery wins the lottery. We also have a mining system over there where you can mine for some allotment, kind of like how Bitcoin started out.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of individual users. That's where we get a lot of our users, a lot of our usership, and then also on a lot of mid-sized companies that are trying to migrate away from paper and into a strictly digital space.
Right.
That's where we get a lot of our usership from.
No, and that makes a lot of sense. One of the things I'm trying to do with this conversation too is to let everybody know the difference in this latest technology of blockchain, right, versus what you were talking about with Web 2.0. And if you're like, I'm thinking, if you're a mid-size, a mid-market CEO right now, or an operations director, talk to them about the benefits of moving to a platform like MUVOR versus a traditional one that they're steeped in, because I feel like the flexibility that they don't understand the flexibility that it gives them, because it's not just the reward systems, right? You reduce the tech stack, right? The collaboration. They don't need Slack or Teams or that kind of stuff. I would imagine it's all built into MUVOR.
Exactly. So our main play of marketing is on saving money. So we've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars being saved just from migrating away from paper onto a completely digital stack. That's
Yeah.
really where a lot of the bread and butter is. Just talking to project managers and things like that. Just the paper side will save you a ton and ton of cash, and then the collaborative aspects. We've geared this towards the remote working culture rather than
Which is
the,
huge
the
after COVID, right?
on-premises. Exactly. The collaborative aspects and everything is really the main difference between Web3 and Web2.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like one of the things that as you start to grow Mover more and more is to educate the market on Web3, because I think a lot of people don't understand it and don't get the benefit, but it gives you an infrastructure and a playing field that's completely different than the traditional Web 2, where you're tied to a lot of antiquated stuff. And that's what I'm trying to highlight here, because if I'm watching this as someone that just knows this much of Web 3 versus what you do, I really feel like that's where their unlock happens, because it gives you so much more flexibility to move faster and this is where I wanted to lead with this, is, Tony, how do people build AI on top of like Mover, right? Where they have their chat bots and their AI agents in their workflow. To me, your platform makes that easier than any of the other platforms out there.
Exactly. So we have our own kind of hybrid cloud that you can run on premises, and the cloud allows you to really simply deploy any agents, websites, front ends that you want. It's all networked onto your single source of truth, and it's all routed directly through your single source of truth. All the data gets added onto your single source of truth. So everything that you do, everything that you add, anyone that purchases from you, all products, all everything, just it's all on a single source of truth, and you can earn rewards from it.
It's fantastic, because I think that's where things are going, by the way, is to turn rewards closer to the customer. I think you're way ahead of the game, which is fantastic. And then, a lot of folks on my podcast are wondering, right, where AI fits in, how does it fit in? And I feel like your platform is a really good showcase of how you enable that kind of stuff faster. But talk to me about how you see AI impacting your user base, but also your future user base, right? As people start to adopt Web.
Yeah. So our main play with AI is in the medical field. We found that what we think, at least, is that AI will probably have its largest heyday once it starts getting into medical.
Agreed.
Upgrading systems, upgrading procedures, knowing these procedures, and then doing it itself.
Right.
And then even into the collaborative aspects, the Mover provides a very, very, very high grade collaborative platform where doctors can even talk to each other, post something on there that another doctor can comment on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it just continues going on down the line. And that's not even from an AI aspect, that's from a personal aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that to me is when you start to figure out what you're talking about, doctors talking to each other, but also the ability to protect the healthcare data, right? And protect HIPAA, but at the same time enable the sharing it the right way from the single source of truth. I feel like when you layer AI in there, we can get to better diagnosis, better outcomes faster, right? By using this new technology. Am I correct in
You got it.
in the way I was thinking about it?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So talk to me about your vision for MUVOR, right? You can go, because of your technology, you could go in 100 directions, right? And you could go after tons of user bases. Where do you see the growth happening the best for MUVOR? And, because entrepreneurs come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, right, Tony? So where do you think your best adopters are?
Yeah. So I think the social aspect is where we're going to see the mass adoption. That's where we've seen a lot of our adoptions. We got a lot of our wallets from is from the social aspects. But we see our scale kind of be on the same level as something like a Facebook, where we'll have that large social aspect and collaboration, and that'll just drive production, market cap, all those good things. And then also the mid to large size companies. I mean, even as people start getting into the products and the life cycle and selling and buying and trading and all the exchanges, that's where we'll really pour gas on the fire and move things in the right direction.
And so, and I love this, by the way. And so, talk to me about, if someone, let's say I'm a company, right? 50, $100 million company in the mid market, right? And I'm a manufacturing company. I'm just going to use an example. And I'm on Salesforce now. And I say, wow, Tony, this sounds really good. What's that migration path look like? If I want to move my stuff and I say, I'd rather MUVOR gives me more flexibility and more, freedom to start to implement some of the things I want to do with AI and RPA and automations. How easy is it to move from a system like Salesforce or HubSpot over into a blockchain like MUVOR?
Yeah, so we've added direct rails for something like that. So whether it's something like JSON extraction of data, exporting data, or an XML, or XLS, XCLS, or any kind of spreadsheet, really a lot of various data consumption mechanisms, and you just import it directly into MUVOR, and we've seen pretty steady and fast-moving operations just from the start.
Yeah, and is that like
Not much
weeks
slow
long?
bar.
Is that days long? Because I feel like it's an easier move from there to there than what people are used. Because people are used to a long setup time when they change CRMs.
Right. Yeah, it's maybe days if you have some data correction, but our systems are pretty resilient in that. We have a lot of language processing, and we have a lot of different tools that allow us for people to pick up and go and migrate and continue on with
Minimal impacts
any
and risks,
resistance, with
right?
a minimal friction.
Yeah. And so one of the things I want to hit on, right, because I think it's an important aspect, is that if you're a C-level person watching this, and you're steeped in integrations between systems, right? And you think about the API model, which most people don't understand is kind of on the way out. The way AI is normalizing unstructured data, structured data together. Talk to me about, like, once they get into MUVOR, right? A lot of that goes away. Am I right?
Yeah. So the API pretty much all goes away unless you want to interact directly with the blockchain. Then you might add some direct API accesses if you have. But everyday entrepreneurs, they can really just go directly off the platform, start clicking buttons, and see what it does,
Yeah.
and just go from there.
Yeah. Well, and what's amazing to me is the cost savings, right? Any CIO, CTO knows the cost of maintaining APIs and integrations between systems is one of their most expensive things. And when you move to Web3, right, a lot of that goes out the window. And I think that needs to be highlighted for people to understand it. There's a lot of cost savings benefit, and then there's a lot of flexibility that they've just never experienced.
Yeah, in that aspect, there's a lot less APIs that you have to write. Everything is really right on platform, right in front of you on the UI. As far as the APIs, everything is really straightforward. Versus something like Salesforce, where you have to learn a whole new language, or you have to make 3 or 4 calls to get what you want. With this is it's really it's all on a graph. You call it directly, whatever you want, you get it, and then you just keep going from there. Everything else is right in front of you on the UI itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And, and Tony, if someone wants to see a demo of your platform, again, we'll put the links when this thing goes live, but what's the best way for them to kind of get a feel for what the UI looks like, and, how they could envision using it?
Just give us contact us. The contact form's at the bottom of MUVOR.com. Just go on there, write in a contact form, and we'll get the email, and we'll just email you back, get you on the platform, and set you up with a demo.
It's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely put that. And it's MUVOR, MUVOR, right, .com.
Yep, exactly.
So, and Tony, I said I was going to ask you at the end a little bit about your personal use of AI. Because again, you're more cutting edge than a lot of folks that we have. What do you use AI to make yourself more productive, or use with your team to make yourself more efficient as a leader?
Whenever I can, if I can ask it a question, I ask it a question. If I can have it code something for me, even though it's not the best at coding, I have it code for me, at least the basic of it, the basis of it. Yeah, and then I just correct it from there. Pretty much everything except for photos at this point in time. The photos aren't the best. Sometimes I do photos, but yeah, not very often. I just have someone. Humans are much better at making photos at this point. Not everything, but if I can use it, then I use it.
Yeah. Any tools or tips that you have that you love, right? That you would say, hey, man, I would recommend this.
Not really. ChatGPT. I mean, I'm a reader myself, so I'd rather just intake it myself and then do it myself.
Got it.
That's my first.
That's your personality, right? That's all right. That's all good.
Yeah, I'd rather just do it myself. So yeah, that's why I have no problem with the AI thing. Like, if the AI can do it for me, and then I'll just finish it for it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Tony, I really appreciate you spending some time with us, explaining your platform. To me, I think that this is something that people need to explore further, and definitely get a demo of MUVOR and see how it can simplify their life, simplify their tech stack, right? Cost savings, but also give them the flexibility of very, very robust and flexible infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a really cool platform. It's growing rapidly. It's all around the world. We have users in about 20 countries worldwide right now, tax free, completely free to use. It's a really cool platform. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll put all the links below when this thing goes live. But for everybody out there, definitely go check Tony's MUVOR platform out. And especially if you're considering, moving to Web3, because I feel like it is where everything is going. And Tony's well ahead of the curve, which is fantastic. Tony, thank you again for spending some time with us and sharing your insights and your platform with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brent. Great time.
Yeah. Absolutely. That if you're listening and like I said, you want to explore some quick AI wins, there's links in the show notes for us to to help you and jump on a call. But definitely go check MUVOR, MUVOR.com out. The links will be in the show notes as well once this goes live. And that's it for this episode. Future-proof what matters in your business and automate the rest. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Brent.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.